everyone is locked in and ready for this next one. So this next one is going to be about don't buy into an ETF, how to self-custody your Bitcoin and implement proper governance. So I hope you all hold your own Bitcoin, and I hope you'll give a warm welcome to the CTO of Ledger. Welcome, Charles Guillemet. Welcome, Charles.
Hello, everyone. My talk is Don't Buy an ETF, and I'm going to talk about the different ways to implement self-custody for your Bitcoin and to implement governance around it. My name is Charles Guillemet. I'm CTO at Ledger. My background is cryptography and security. These are topics I'm interested in since I'm 12. It's a long time now. And I discovered Bitcoin in 2011. At this time, a friend of mine was talking about Bitcoin like every day. It was a little bit annoying. But at some point, I decided to have a look at what Bitcoin is. And I studied the cryptography. I studied the decentralized consensus, the double spending problem, the blockchain technology, all of this. And I was amazed by the technology. But I didn't get the use case. And this is really what I told to my friend. Your Bitcoin thing is interesting, but I don't get it. What's the purpose? Where does it go? So I didn't get more interested in Bitcoin at this time. He was continuing mining with his computer. And in 2017, I decided to join Ledger. And this is when he asked me if I finally got it. And I think I got it. I think the big revolution brought by Bitcoin is permissionless money. With Bitcoin, you have permissionless money. And this is made possible thanks to two things. The first one is the decentralized consensus. It allows to have a censorship resistance. We have a set of incentives that enable this censorship resistance, and miners are securing the blockchain. And on another hand, you have self-custody. With self-custody, you really own your value. You really control your coin. And as we say in the space, not your keys, not your coin. But if you are an organization, self-custody is a little bit more complex to define, because you will have an organization with different people accessing to the coin, and then you need to implement some governance over the coin. When you are an individual, you can use a hardware wallet. I think this is still the best way to self-custody your Bitcoin. And I think in order to be secure with your Bitcoin, you need basically three properties. The first one, you need to generate your secret materials into an enclave. The second one is the cryptography must be implemented inside this enclave so that the secrets don't have to leave it. And finally, you need a trusted display. You need a trusted display because, as a user, you need to understand what kind of transaction you are about to consent before signing it. And it removes all the threat of a malware on your computer that would turn your hardware wallet into a signature oracle. And this is really what we built at Ledger. Now we have the Ledger stacks, but we have built the Nano, Nano S, X, and S Plus before. And the Ledger stacks is built around this technology. We are using secure elements. This is smart card technology, the technology you find in your passport and in your banking card. The main difference is that in your passport and in your banking card, the secrets that are inside are the state or the bank's secret. With a Ledger device, you are using the same technology, smart card technology, but this is your secret that are inside the secure element. So this is really what we built at Ledger, and this is perfectly fine if you are an individual. I strongly think this is the best solution to implement self-custody when you are an individual. And today we see this ETF hype around Bitcoin, and this is pretty impressive. Like in a few months, I think it has been approved in January. We can see that 15 billions of inflows into this Bitcoin ETF. This is really, really impressive. It represents 4% of the market cap, which is equally impressive. But when you think about it, this is really not the purpose of Bitcoin. The purpose of Bitcoin is permissionless money. You don't have to ask the permission to anyone to own your value and to use it. With an ETF, you are trusting someone else to custody your Bitcoin. So if not self-custody, why Bitcoin at the end? When you have an ETF, you are exposed to Bitcoin value, but you don't own anything. And probably some organizations, especially in traditional finance, are using this because implementing self-custody for an organization can seem a little bit complex, and there are plenty of problems to solve. And this is really what I want to talk about today. Implementing governance when you are an organization, first of all, it means creating a set of rules to spend your Bitcoin. And historically, the best way to do that, the first way to do that was multisig. Initially, we were using PSBT for partially signed Bitcoin transaction, and it's perfectly fine. It works well. It leverages the Bitcoin script. But one of the issues is that this Bitcoin script can be a little bit cumbersome to understand and to decrypt. But when you implement this multisig on-chain, what happens is that you have a script on-chain that waits for instance, 3 signatures in order to spend this specific UTXO. This verification is done by the blockchain. After multisig, we have implemented Miniscript. Miniscript is a higher level language that allows to have a structured way to represent the rules. And here you have an example where Alice can spend her Bitcoin, or 3 out of 3 can spend the Bitcoin with Bob, Carol, and Dave. And after 3 months, 2 out of 3 are enough to spend the Bitcoin. It can allow to have a social recovery. It can allow to implement governance. And all of this is quite simple to represent in Miniscript. When I say quite simple, you can have a look. It's not that simple, but we can work in order to make this really human readable. So today we are supporting this very well on Nano devices, but also on stacks. And we are working on improving the UI and the UX of it. We are also supporting PSBT. I didn't mention it before, but we are also supporting PSBT. But I think Miniscript is a better solution for the long run. You also have another solution, which is called MPC. MPC stands for multi-party computation, and the idea is to leverage cryptography to sign transactions together. So this is really the idea. And the difference between MPC and multisig on-chain is that when it's PSBT or Miniscript, this is the chain that verifies that your signature, the 3 signatures, are correct. When it comes to MPC, you will co-sign a transaction, but at the end, you will aggregate the partial signature in order to create one valid signature. From a blockchain standpoint, this signature cannot be distinguished from a signature that has been signed by only one person. So this is really the big difference. But the problem we have with MPC today is the following. First of all, on Bitcoin, we are using ECDSA scheme, which is the standard for digital signature on Bitcoin. And ECDSA scheme is definitely not suited for MPC. It creates clunky scheme with like low security guarantees. The second issue is that when you implement MPC, you would like that the partial signature computation to be implemented in secure hardware. The problem is that today, no secure hardware are supporting MPC. And finally, it's difficult to support BIP32 or BIP39, which makes the independent recovery difficult in the MPC use case. So from a cryptographic standpoint, MPC is really a good tool. Nonetheless, there are plenty of drawbacks, and when it comes to the implementation for Bitcoin, it's really not ideal. The good news is that we also have another signature scheme on Bitcoin. So everyone today is using, most of the wallets today are using ECDSA on SecP 256K1. Sorry for the details. But it's also possible to use a Schnorr signature. At the beginning of Bitcoin, Satoshi could have chosen a Schnorr signature because it's really better from plenty of perspective. But the thing is, it was patented at this time. The patent now is finished, and Schnorr signature have been added into Bitcoin in the Taproot update. And the Schnorr signature is really better because it's well suited for MPC, and it has additive properties. That means that you only have to partially sign one transaction, the second times and the third times, and you only have to add these 3 partial signatures in order to create the valid complete signature. So this is what is standardized with Music2, which is the protocol around this MPC implementation on top of Schnorr. And the announcement I would like to do today is that we have worked into implementing MPC for Music2 in Ledger devices, and today it's possible to have Music2 on Ledger devices. So this is a pretty big news, and I'm looking forward to seeing people building on top of it, because now you have the good properties of MPC, you have a Schnorr signature, and all of this in a secure enclave. If you want to compare this with multi-signature on-chain, one of the benefits you get is the fact that you don't have to pay to overpay the fees, because what you sign is simply a simple Schnorr signature on Taproot. It's not a script on-chain. So I'm really happy to announce this. You can see the GitHub repository. You only have to download the specific version of the Bitcoin app, and we have a Python script in order to play with it, which is called Musig. So I'm looking forward to seeing some project building on top of this implementation. We also have at Ledger, we also have Ledger Enterprise Services. Ledger is very well known for the retail product for our Ledger devices and Ledger Live, but we also have a business unit for enterprise. And we have built this solution based on secure hardware, because we think secure hardware remains the best way to secure cryptographic materials. And we are leveraging HSM. HSM stands for Hardware Security Module. And inside this HSM, we have loaded our own operating system, and we have a system of script allowing to call this operating system. And our users, our customers, can build their own governance framework on top of this HSM. So as an organization, you can decide who are the administrator, who are the operator, and as an administrator, you can decide that this specific group of people can access to this specific account. And if they want to make a transaction, they need to gather 3 approvals out of 5. Like, all these governance rules can be implemented within Ledger Enterprise Services, and it's enforced by the secure hardware. So this is yet another solution to implement this governance. We are also giving to the users some personal security device with a screen. It allows them to authenticate themselves on the platform, but also to verify on the screen what kind of operation they are about to consent on the platform. So this is really what we built at Ledger for enterprise, and it leverages the secure technology of Ledger with secure hardware and secure operating system. Just as a conclusion, so self-custody is not that difficult. I think we are still very early. There are still a lot of progress, a lot of R&D to do. But even if you are an organization, ETF can look convenient, but as an organization, you need to do self-custody. And if you are a retail investor or a retail Bitcoin user, hardware device is perfectly fine, but if you want to implement some governance, you need to think about how to implement it, like who can access to what kind of rights each user has, and this kind of thing. Also, you must think about the security, where the key materials are located, who has access to them, how they are secured. Finally, who can control the keys? And also, an important point is interoperability. You need to think about how your wallet can be recovered in case your wallet provider disappears. This is something really important. So the Bitcoin ETF that have been approved recently was, at the end, a good news for our ecosystem because it has put the spotlight on Bitcoin, and it's good for that. It also created a lot of inflows, creating some supply shortage, let's say, and an increase in price. But at the end, for me, the big revolution brought by Bitcoin is permissionless money. And permissionless money is only possible if you do self-custody. Thank you for your attention.